Keanu Reeves walks into a Tesla showroom in Los Angeles. The rude manager humiliated Keanu, treating him like a nobody. He condemned the famous actor for his simple clothes. The reactions of Keanu Reeves and Elon Musk will not leave you indifferent and will make you think about the true values of life. Friends, let us know in the comments under what conditions you watch this video. In the background, while working, or during lunch. Also, don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow another emotional story will be waiting for you. Los Angeles, a city where Hollywood stars cross paths with Silicon Valley billionaires, and cutting-edge technology meets dazzling luxury. In the heart of this vibrant metropolis stands one of the most luxurious Tesla showrooms, a massive exhibition space showcasing the company's latest electric vehicles. Glass walls, gleaming white floors, and meticulously displayed cars shimmering under lavish chandeliers. Everything here speaks of status and prestige. Amid this pristine world filled with elite clientele, a man walks in with quiet confidence. His movements are calm, even slightly sluggish, as if he's taking a stroll through a park on a lazy Sunday. His hair is slightly tousled, and a faint trace of fatigue rests on his face. The look of someone accustomed to simplicity, unconcerned with appearances. He wears a plain dark t-shirt, worn jeans, and old sneakers that have clearly seen many miles. A simple black backpack hangs from his shoulders, seemingly filled with ordinary belongings. No one pays him much attention, at least not until he stops beside a sleek Tesla Model X, running his hand thoughtfully along its flawless body. Showroom salespeople are quick to read such visitors, the typical walk-ins who come to take a look, snap photos next to the luxurious EVs, and maybe sit inside for a moment, imagining themselves as owners. They've seen this type before: tourists, dreamers, random passers-by who have no intention of buying anything. That's why the first salesperson to notice the stranger doesn't approach him. Instead, he deliberately turns back to another client in a sharp suit. After all, those dressed in designer clothes and holding keys to a Porsche or Lamborghini are usually the real buyers. Meanwhile, the man whom most of the staff and guests have ignored continues to examine the cars with quiet intensity. His gaze shifts from one Tesla to another, studying body lines, design, and the latest technologies. He doesn't take out his phone, doesn't snap selfies, and doesn't ask silly questions. He's not interested in prestige, but in the essence of the vehicles themselves. His attention lingers on the newest Cybertruck, the electric pickup that stirred a storm of emotions during its launch. He slowly walks alongside it, inspecting every detail, running his hand across its metallic surface. One of the younger sales associates, clad in a Tesla-branded t-shirt, glances quickly at the showroom manager, a sharply dressed man named Brian. Standing at the central counter, Brian leisurely scrolls through his phone while keeping a watchful eye on the visitors. Upon seeing the casually dressed man by the Cybertruck, he curls his lip into a subtle smirk. To him, it's the classic tourist move. Take a photo with the futuristic truck to post on social media. He's dealt with this kind before, dreamers who could never afford a $100,000 vehicle. Brian decides it's not worth his time. There are real customers in the showroom now. A man in a business suit discussing financing options for the new Model S Plaid, and a young couple looking to buy a Model 3 as a gift. These are the people who deserve attention. Brian throws a quick glance at one of the salespeople and gestures for him to ignore the man in worn jeans. His look says it all. Focus on the real clients. Keanu Reeves, standing quietly by the Tesla Cybertruck, notices the subtle gestures and dismissive glances, but remains unfazed. He's not used to being greeted with fanfare and doesn't care how strangers perceive him. He continues observing the vehicle, listening to the comments of other visitors who come to see the pickup. Some call it the car of the future. Others mock the design. He simply smiles. In this vehicle, he sees a true idea, a technological breakthrough, not just a flashy toy. Eventually, one of the salespeople does approach Keanu, barely hiding his disinterest. "You looking for something specific?" he asks, his tone laced with subtle disdain. Keanu calmly lifts his head and looks the salesman directly in the eyes. "Yeah, I'm interested in the Cybertruck. I want to learn more about its specs." The salesman barely hides a smirk, the kind you make when you think someone is wasting your time. He casts a quick glance at Brian, who responds with a noticeable shake of his head, silently signaling, "Don't bother." He's not buying. Keanu patiently waits. The salesman sighs and recites the standard spiel. "Well, this is the Tesla Cybertruck. Armored exterior, over 500 miles of range, goes 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. But it's not your average vehicle. It's a model for serious buyers." Keanu raises an eyebrow, catching the not-so-subtle implication. "Serious buyers," he repeats. The salesman nods, not thinking much about his words. "Yeah, people who can actually afford it. We don't get too many of those." Reeves gives a faint smile. He already knows they aren't taking him seriously. And maybe, just maybe, that's what will make this day interesting. He nods, thanks the salesperson, and takes a few steps aside. But it's already enough for Brian, the showroom manager, to decide it's time to end this little charade. Keanu scanned the Tesla showroom once more, his gaze drawn back to the massive Cybertruck, parked like a visitor from the future at the center of the floor. His eyes didn't gleam with excitement, but with genuine, focused interest, the kind of interest born of deep understanding. He leaned toward one of the headlights, as if assessing the geometry of its light pattern, then slowly circled the vehicle, pausing near the driver's side door. His hand brushed the metallic body, not out of idle curiosity, but with the careful touch of someone who truly appreciates detail. It was then that he noticed the showroom manager, Brian, still throwing sideways glances his way. Brian finally broke. Something about this man standing next to the most prestigious electric pickup seemed to irritate him. Straightening his shoulders, adjusting his blazer, and setting his mouth in a firm line, he confidently walked over to Keanu. "Excuse me," he began, voice coated in feigned politeness, "but I think you may not fully understand what this model represents. The Cybertruck isn't just a vehicle, it's an investment, a symbol of new thinking. And frankly, not everyone is suited for that level." Keanu looked up calmly. His eyes were soft, but a note of surprise flickered there. "I do understand. That's exactly why I'm here," he replied, not a hint of irritation in his tone. "I'm interested in the exact configuration, safety specs, and performance metrics." Brian offered a slight smile, more dismissive than friendly. "Look," he said, lowering his voice in a mock conspiratorial tone. "I've seen a lot of people come in here saying they're interested, but when it comes time to order, they disappear. You have to understand, not everyone should waste time chasing dreams. The Cybertruck's not for everyone." Nearby salespeople passed by, casting glances that bordered on condescending. One of them, named Jared, leaned over to a colleague and whispered, "Look, Brian's filtering out the poor guys again. Never changes." "Right next to the Cybertruck, too." "Classic," the other chuckled. Keanu stood still, silently listening as Brian continued his monologue. "We could offer you something more accessible, like a base Model 3. It's a great car, too. And let's say, more realistic." "Thanks," Keanu said evenly. "But I'm interested in the Cybertruck. I want to know if the version with all-wheel drive and the integrated solar roof is available." That response caught Brian off guard, not so much for its content as for its tone. The man before him spoke with confidence, free of sarcasm or defensiveness. And even though this visitor didn't fit his image of a real buyer, something in his voice was convincing. But instead of softening, the realization only made Brian angrier. "Listen, buddy," he said more sharply now, dropping the mask of civility. "This isn't a fairground, and it's not a test drive for daydreamers. If you want to just look at cars, check out the website. We value our time, and the time of real clients." Silence fell over the showroom. A few visitors nearby turned at the raised voice. A well-dressed couple started whispering to each other. The woman leaned toward her companion. "Did you hear how he's talking to him? Is that normal here?" "Awful," the man muttered. "But I guess the manager thinks he's homeless or something." Another group, 3 young guys checking out the roadster, already had their phones out recording the scene. One of them even mumbled, "This is going to blow up on TikTok. Tesla's new level of customer service." Brian, meanwhile, had shifted to outright scolding. "You don't belong here, sir. This is a premium showroom. We don't show off vehicles to people who just came to dream. Please leave the premises." The words hit like a final verdict. Brian even gestured toward the exit, expecting the stranger to obey. Keanu stood still for a moment. His face remained unreadable. No hint of anger or offense. He simply let out a soft breath, glanced down at his sneakers, then raised his eyes, now with that same quiet, unwavering certainty that could stop anyone in their tracks. "All right," he said quietly, "if that's how you feel." And he turned toward the exit. Slowly, calmly, not in defeat, not in anger, but with a dignity that couldn't be faked. Several visitors looked visibly shocked. Some blinked in confusion. Others shook their heads. One man in a track jacket even said aloud, "I don't know who that guy is, but that manager's a jerk." A hush fell over the showroom, and Keanu was already nearing the door, leaving behind stunned salespeople, offended customers, and a few live cameras that had no idea they'd just captured the beginning of a story that would soon shake the entire internet. Just as the doors of the Tesla showroom began to close behind Keanu, they swung open again, this time quickly, even a little nervously. A short, energetic man stepped inside, dressed stylishly but without flash. Hanging from his chest was a badge that read, "Jason Carter, Automotive Weekly." In his hands was a tablet he barely looked up from, until he glanced around and froze, recognizing the figure who had nearly exited moments earlier. "Mr. Reeves," the journalist exclaimed, both surprised and excited. "Is that really you?" The showroom, which just seconds ago had been cloaked in tense silence, instantly came alive. Several heads turned toward the voice. Brian, who had just sighed in relief seeing Keanu leave, froze in place. His jaw nearly hit the floor. "Are you here for the new Tesla too?" Jason continued, approaching with visible delight. "This is a great story. You, in the Tesla showroom. Keanu Reeves himself." Keanu gave a faint smile and a slight nod. "Just wanted to take a look at the Cybertruck. I like the concept." Brian snapped back to reality. His eyes blazed, not at Keanu, but at himself. Panic, shame, fear, and confusion collided in his expression. He nearly leapt in place and rushed toward Reeves. Mr. Reeves, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you. Please, let me give you a personal tour. I can show you the entire showroom, including our restricted tech section. You can test any model you like." Keanu looked at him calmly. There was no offense in his eyes, only a deep, quiet awareness of what had just unfolded. "Thank you," he said, "but I've seen everything I needed to." Those words, soft but clear, rolled through the showroom like thunder on a clear day. Some of the customers who had been filming exchanged looks that said, "Wow." A few had already posted the first clips to TikTok. Others were prepping reels for Instagram. But the most important part was only just beginning. Jason, sensing he was witnessing a potential headline, quickly began recording a short video. I'm here at the Tesla showroom in Los Angeles, where a shocking incident just occurred. Keanu Reeves, Hollywood icon, was just kicked out of the showroom after staff failed to recognize him. And all this while he was genuinely interested in the new Tesla Cybertruck. And yes, I got it all on video. His claim was confirmed by dozens of eyes glued to phone screens. Within an hour, TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts exploded with clips. Most bore titles like, "Tesla manager kicks out Keanu Reeves." He didn't know who he was disrespecting. Keanu's response is pure gold. When you're so blind to people, you miss a legend. But the real storm began on X, formerly Twitter. There, the footage hit the timelines of journalists, bloggers, car enthusiasts, and ordinary users alike. Jason's post racked up over 2 million views within the first 2 hours. One of Hollywood's kindest souls at Keanu Reeves was just publicly dismissed by a Tesla showroom manager in LA. He wanted to learn more about the Cybertruck and got thrown out. It was painful to watch. Developing story. The replies were relentless. This is Tesla? Premium service? If they don't respect Keanu, what hope is there for the rest of us? Reeves is ego-free. And this is how he's treated? Shameful. Elon Musk, it's time to respond. By the end of the day, the video had gone viral. It was being discussed on Reddit, car forums, Keanu fan groups, and Tesla communities. GIFs of Brian's face at the moment of realization flooded the internet. A meme reading, "This guy tried to sell a Model 3 to John Wick," became one of the most shared of the day. Tesla's media department began receiving a flood of inquiries. Before they could craft a statement, Elon Musk was being tagged directly across X. And though Musk himself stayed silent, the PR explosion had already detonated. Within hours, the showroom's reputation was under fire, not from false claims, but from simple, documented truth that millions had witnessed. Meanwhile, Keanu was already leaving the premises, walking slowly along the sidewalk. No dramatic exit, no security entourage. His posture was as calm as it had been when he entered. Only his eyes carried a deep, thoughtful glow, not of anger, but of reflection on how quickly the world judges by appearance. It was a moment when everything changed, not just for Brian, not just for this showroom, but for the public image of Tesla as a whole. And more importantly, it was a moment where a quiet act of dignity spoke louder than any words ever could. The morning after the scandalous incident at the Tesla showroom erupted across the media landscape. News of a manager ejecting Keanu Reeves after failing to recognize him flooded not only social media, but also traditional news outlets. Leading platforms from CNN to Forbes covered the story, labeling it a PR nightmare for Tesla. But the true turning point came when the video reached Elon Musk himself. Around 9 a.m., while the headlines were still gaining traction, Musk's official account on X posted a brief but powerful message. Tesla was founded with a vision very different from arrogance and elitism. Tesla is about dignity and a love for innovation. Every customer deserves respect, regardless of appearance or attire. The tweet skyrocketed to the top of trending topics. Tens of thousands of comments, likes, and reposts followed. Some praised Musk for his immediate response, while others demanded concrete action regarding the incident. Elon, known for his direct approach, didn't delay. Within hours, Tesla released an official press statement. "We deeply regret the incident that occurred in our Los Angeles showroom. Tesla is a company built on innovation, but also on fairness and equal treatment for all customers. Those responsible have been held accountable, and the manager who acted unprofessionally is no longer employed by Tesla. We are taking steps to ensure this never happens again." While the statement was carefully worded, everyone understood. Brian had been fired. The discussions didn't slow down. Many thanked Musk for his swift reaction. though some believed it wasn't enough. The public wanted more, a sincere apology, not just from the company, but from its leadership. That's why, the very next day, Elon Musk stepped up once again. At 2 p.m. Pacific time, he tweeted, "At Keanu Reeves, I apologize for the incident. This is not what Tesla stands for. If you're still interested in the Cybertruck, I invite you to any of our showrooms for a special visit. I promise this time, you'll receive the level of service every customer deserves." The internet lit up immediately. Wow, a personal invitation from Musk, that's next level. When was the last time a CEO apologized directly on X? Impressive. If Keanu declines, I stand with him, but if he goes, it'll be legendary. And Keanu? He didn't respond right away. His social media presence is rarely active, but a few hours later, a short, composed post appeared. "I appreciate the apology. I think this is a good opportunity not just to meet, but to talk about things that matter." Elon replied swiftly, "Agreed." Let this be a lesson for all of us, and for society at large. This promise to turn the incident into a meaningful event sparked fresh waves of attention. This was no longer just a scandal. It was becoming a moment with the potential to influence something far greater than a single showroom visit. The next day, the world waited for details. Tesla announced that the meeting would be held at their flagship showroom in Los Angeles. The event would be live-streamed, and Musk and Reeves would discuss not only cars, but service culture, equality, and respect in modern society. The world was watching, and Tesla had been handed a second chance, perhaps even a rare opportunity to show that true luxury isn't about machines, but about how you treat people. Inside Tesla's flagship showroom in Los Angeles, an unusual silence filled the space, laced with a sense of anticipation. Normally, the showroom buzzed with customer chatter, the gleam of new models, and flashy demo presentations. But today was different. Staff members, journalists, influencers, and Tesla executives had all gathered. At the center of it all, a test drive of the Tesla Cybertruck featuring Keanu Reeves. Yet everyone knew it wasn't just about the test drive. Keanu, dressed in the same simple attire, a gray hoodie, dark jeans, and worn sneakers, approached the futuristic truck waiting for him at the main entrance. Broadcast cameras were already rolling, with live streams on X, for YouTube, and even Instagram Live. Sliding into the driver's seat, Keanu activated the dash cam and began recording. "Hey everyone, I'm Keanu. And yes, this is my first Cybertruck test drive. But before I take off, I want to say a few words." He paused. The camera captured his calm, serious gaze. His voice was quiet, but assured. Sometimes we face situations that make us rethink how we see each other. I wasn't recognized, sure, but it's not about who I am. It's about how I was treated. Everyone deserves respect, regardless of what they wear, how much money they have, or what title they hold. And everyone has the right to make mistakes, but also the right to change. Keanu pressed the pedal, and the Cybertruck glided forward. He pulled out onto the open lot, demonstrating the truck's power and agility. The video amassed millions of views before the stream even ended. Comments poured in. "That's the voice we needed. Thank you, Keanu. One of the classiest people on the planet. Tesla should be thanking him, not apologizing. This is real class. No suits, no ego." But that was just the beginning. Later that same day, Tesla released another video on X. In it, Keanu addressed Tesla showroom staff. It was a small, intimate gathering, but the moment carried weight, so it was streamed live. Among the listeners in the dimly lit conference room sat Brian, the very manager who had dismissed Keanu not long ago. Brian sat near the back, posture low, face serious. In his hands was a plain notebook where he jotted things down methodically. From time to time, he looked up at Keanu, not defiantly, but with quiet focus. The camera lingered on his face for a moment, and viewers noticed something in his eyes: regret and sincere remorse. Keanu didn't read from a script. He spoke simply. "I'm not here to scold. I'm here because I believe people can change. We all make mistakes. And if we can admit that, we're already on the path to becoming better. I don't want anyone to lose their job. I want all of us to learn to see not what's on the surface, but what's real in each person." The room stayed silent. No applause, no shouts, just the deep stillness that follows words that truly move people. After the talk, most attendees quietly dispersed, but one man stayed behind. Brian. He slowly approached Keanu, who was just about to leave. Cameras didn't catch this moment, but witnesses later recounted it. "Mr. Reeves... Brian began, his voice trembling. Keanu turned and looked him in the eyes. "I want to apologize. I acted like, no, I was arrogant. I only saw the surface, and that's been in me for years. No one ever called me out, and I never called myself out." His lips quivered, eyes red, hand clutching a ballpoint pen. "This whole thing changed me. I don't deserve the role I had, but I want to change. Really change." Keanu didn't reply right away. He studied Brian for a few seconds, not judging his words, but weighing their sincerity. Then he gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "What matters isn't who you were, it's who you want to become. If you truly see it now, that's the beginning." They shook hands. No cameras, no witnesses, no PR spin, just human to human. That evening, Keanu posted a photo beside the Tesla Cybertruck. The caption was brief: "Respect isn't a luxury, it's a choice, and we can make it every day." The post became the most liked on Exegol that week. And Keanu? Once again, not just a hero of the screen, but a hero to millions of hearts. Tesla, meanwhile, launched an internal review of its service culture. Elon Musk announced a new staff training program called "Humanity is Our Strength." In its intro video, Keanu's words about the right to make mistakes and the power to change were front and center. After the speech, the test drive, and the viral storm on social media, life began returning to normal. But not for everyone. For Brian, it was the start of a new chapter. His dismissal from Tesla wasn't the end. In fact, it marked the beginning of an inner transformation. For several weeks, he avoided media interviews, deactivated his social accounts, and disappeared from the public eye. People assumed he had vanished, but in truth, he was working on himself. Brian started small. He signed up for therapy sessions. He read books on empathy, service, customer respect, and the psychology of bias. He took emotional intelligence courses and even volunteered at a homeless shelter. Every time he saw someone in modest clothes, he remembered Keanu's eyes and felt both shame and motivation. Eventually, Brian found a new job as a doorman at a small hotel on LA's West Side. Once, he might have considered it beneath him, opening doors for others. But over time, he began to see its value. The chance to offer someone their first impression of a place. His "good morning" came from the heart, and his smile was no longer just a formality. It was part of his personal change. He looked every guest in the eye, searching not for status, but for a story. One day, a young couple arrived at the hotel with a small child. They looked tired, unsure. The old Brian might not have noticed them, but this time he helped with their luggage, guided them to the front desk, and recommended a good place to eat. When the mother said with surprise, "You're very kind. That's rare," he smiled and replied, "I didn't used to be. But one day, I met someone who helped me see that." Meanwhile, Keanu Reeves, though never seeking more attention, felt the story needed a quiet conclusion. A few weeks after the incident, he did buy the Tesla Cybertruck. He posted a photo of the vehicle on X with a simple caption beside it. "Treat others how you want to be treated. Even behind the wheel of the most powerful vehicle, your heart should be the main engine." The post quickly trended, but people weren't talking about the car, the design, or the price. They were talking about the message. Under the post, they wrote, "This is more than a car purchase. It's a symbol of growth." The moment Cybertruck became more than a truck, it became a symbol of dignity. Tesla's stock had dipped slightly in the early days after the scandal, as investors feared reputational damage. But within a week, once it became clear how well the company had handled the situation, the trend reversed. The "Humanity is Our Strength" initiative received strong praise, and service standards at Tesla showrooms across the country were reassessed. Many began calling it the Reeves effect. Elon Musk, who had initially responded in a formal tone, gradually shifted his approach. In a Bloomberg interview, he admitted, "This situation made me reflect. Have I always treated people equally? Probably not. But we all keep learning. And I'm grateful to Keanu for reminding us that innovation without humanity is just metal and plastic." Deep down, he felt not just responsibility, but gratitude. Not only to Keanu, but to Brian as well. Because through this story, he saw how a single moment can spark something far greater. And perhaps that's how real change is born. Not through revolutions, but through small acts that touch the heart. Friends, thank you for staying until the end. This story isn't just about Tesla or Keanu Reeves. It's about all of us. About how easy it is to judge someone by appearance, and how important it is not to. Keanu didn't respond with anger. He chose dignity. And Brian, after making a mistake, found the strength to change. That is the real victory. We never truly know who's standing in front of us, a millionaire in jeans, or simply a kind soul going through a hard time. Respect costs nothing, but it changes everything. Don't judge too quickly. Be kinder. The world changes when we do. Be sure to share your impressions of the story in the comments and write what conclusions you have drawn after listening to it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I wish you all a good mood and see you in the new video tomorrow.